Hey guys, good evening. This is Eric from Bloom's Auto Mart, and welcome back to my channel, The Auto Venture. If this is your first time, this channel is about my car lot as well as my rental business here in Florida. And tonight I'm getting a little bit of a late start making this video. Had a pretty busy day at the car lot, but tonight's video is going to be 7 tricks that car dealers pull that you shouldn't fall for. And if you're a car dealer that's doing these tricks, just wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's good for business. There's a lot of dealers out there that do it. I'm sure it's profitable, and I just haven't ever done any of these things. So let's get started. All right, so the number one thing that people hate about car dealerships and car salesmen is the pressure. Walking on the lot, especially if you go to a new franchise store, there's salesmen, eager young new salesmen that are waiting to open the door for you and help you out of your car to try to pressure you into the next vehicle. And it's just, in my opinion, not the right approach. These guys that it's only a deal today. If we can get it done by the end of today, then we can do this deal, or all this crap that isn't a real thing. Not often that I've ever run into is a deal not good the next day or even next week. The only time this may be different is if it's an end of the month sale where the actual manufacturer has rebates or something that they're offering. But besides that, a deal on a Monday is as good as a Thursday or a Sunday or a Tuesday. It doesn't matter. The end of the month quotas or goals, that may change something a little bit, especially on the newer car side. But if you come to my car lot, I don't care if you buy it on the 31st or the 1st, it's the same to me. I don't have a specific quota that I'm trying to hit where I need you to buy this car by the end of the month to hit some kind of bonus. It just doesn't work like that with me. The second trick is one of my favorites, and I think everyone deep down really knows how it works. They just don't want to believe it, and they also want to use it against another dealer, and that is the trade-in value. So everyone has the internet. You can go on to Kelley Blue Book or Car Gurus or any of these apps that are on your phone or on the internet that you can see what your car is worth. And of course it would be best if you can sell it private party to get more money for it, but if you're going to get trade-in, you should really look at what trade-in value is. Too often there's a dealer that's offering you basically retail for your car, and while it sounds good on paper, it's just not reality. If you have a car that Kelley Blue Book says, or whatever it is, NADA says is worth $5,000, and another dealer is offering you $7,000 or $8,000, $9,000 on trade, the reality of that situation is that their car is just too expensive. The problem is you come to my dealership where my vehicles may be priced fairly or more fairly, and you want $9,000 for your car, and I can't give you $9,000 for that car. For you to get $9,000 for it, you have to go overpay at the other car lot for the other vehicle. How I try to do it is just compare apples to apples. I'll literally scan in front of you on my phone what that vehicle will do at the auction, and that's basically within a few $100s of what I'm willing to take that car into my inventory for, because otherwise I can buy that car for, say, $5,000 at the auction. I can't offer you $7,500 for it. It just doesn't make any sense. My cars aren't marked up enough to bury $2,500 or $3,500 into a car deal. Like, I just don't have that much profit. That's also why people, I think, shop at my car lot, though, is my prices are fair. For what the vehicles are, and I just don't play the games. So alright, so here's another one that is on the top of my pet peeve list, is selling for the monthly payment, not for the actual price of the car. If you are a savvy buyer it doesn't matter how much the monthly well, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. The term of the loan can be adjusted to make your payment whatever you want it to be. At the end of the day, though, what you really want to know is how much you're paying for that car. A dealer can take a loan from a 36-month to a 48-month to a 60 to a 72-month to work you backward into the payment that you want. But the reality of the situation is you want to know how much you're ultimately paying for the car. You can split up your payments and know exactly what it is yourself. You don't have to have them do the math for you. You know what your interest rate would be if you go to get your financing in advance, or if they have their own financing. But don't fall for the monthly payment trick. That's a total scam. Another one that you really need to watch out for is the advertising on like a base model. So what happens is dealers will list the most stripped down, almost no air conditioning, crank windows, vehicle out there that they have one of in the ugliest color that they've had the longest, that they're willing to either take a loss on or they just want to get rid of. And that's the one they advertise. So whenever you show up for the brand new car that's $89.95 and you say, oh, I want one that's under 10,000, they say, oh, well, we only had one and they sold out quick, or they had so many and they sold out quick. But really, they're just trying to get you through the door. What happens next is they take you to, well, here's the next model up from there, and they can show you that one. And unfortunately, it's not $8,500 anymore. It's $11,900. And what you really want is the one with the alloy wheels and the upgraded stereo and the DVD player or whatever it is, and all of a sudden that one's $15,900, and it just escalates from there. So really do your homework. Look at the vehicles online. You can call ahead to see if it's there. Even that, you probably won't get the right answer. Again, most likely at a new car store where, oh yeah, we just sold it the second that you show up, and meanwhile that car's been gone for a week. So don't fall for it. Check their inventory. You can call to save yourself a trip, but I think more often than not, you'll be disappointed when you show up and it's not there. Carfax, auto check, hidden damage. So the way that this works is if you take a vehicle to like a private shop, for instance, or if the police aren't called at an accident and it was repaired without insurance, there's not any record of that anywhere. And there's a lot of cars that you can get less expensive that maybe had an accident that doesn't show up anywhere on the Carfax, anywhere on an auto check. It doesn't show anything, but it's been repaired. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but to be straightforward with what's been done to the car either makes me a really bad salesman or one of the best, most straightforward car dealers that are out there. I really, I'm not necessarily pointing out every little scratch, but if somebody walks by something and they say like, oh yeah, has this been done or that been done, I couldn't be any more straightforward, where it's like, yeah, this car, especially if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, that car has more than likely been in some kind of an accident, or if it hasn't been an accident, it maybe had some paint work done. It could have been something as simple as a couple door dings to, something major where it has, frame damage, or it has a bad Carfax, or airbags were deployed, or whatever the case may be. But be straightforward. There's massive companies out there that specifically take vehicles that are off lease and they fix them up, clean everything up. A huge majority of those vehicles have accident histories. They're priced really inexpensive for the market, and they sell a ton of cars. But a lot of people don't realize or don't see the paintwork. None of that paintwork is done at a shop that would show up on Carfax, or if it was, it's not on the Carfax by the time you purchase it. So just be careful. You can ask if this car's been in an accident or if it's had any paintwork. if the car salesman is honest, they'll tell you, oh yeah, we touched it up here, it had some damage. Usually you can see it. It's a bumper, it's a door. It'll just be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter than the paint. It's really hard to match some colors, so just be careful. Dealer financing and add-ons is another thing, and this is a profit center for all car lots or most car lots. I don't want to make myself sound like I don't do any of these things, but the reality is I don't. I would first of all recommend that you get your own financing. What dealers do when you go to get approved for a vehicle, they'll submit your credit to a bank, it'll be Ford or whatever it is, and they'll come back with an interest rate of 3.59%. Well, what happens is in the finance department, they can bump that within a certain percentage to add more profit to it. Say they can bump it by 1.5. So they earn 1.5% more on a vehicle. I would recommend, first of all, going to your own bank first, because they have your payment history, credit history, everything right there. Secondly, I would definitely look at local credit unions. You may have to become a member and put maybe a couple $100 into a bank account, but they honestly have the best interest rates out there for the most part, and they're very easy to work with. From the dealer perspective, or a dealer like myself, I would much prefer the customer to walk through with like a bank check or financing in place rather than having to shop around, where the customer already thinks that you're not being truthful with them about the interest rate or what you can do for them. And meanwhile, for someone like myself, I hit put in your information, I hit a button, and it comes back with an interest rate. Exactly what I receive is what I give you. I don't mark anything up. That's not what I'm trying to do. I have a profit in the vehicle that is fair, what I believe is fair, and if you don't think it is, then I wouldn't buy the car. But being straightforward, I think, is always the best policy. Finally, this is really the worst one, and the biggest lie of all is a dealer will say, well, we can't get you approved for whatever it is, the vehicle that you actually want. And what you should do is just get into this, base model or whatever it is that you can get approved for. Make your payments on time for like 6 months and then come trade it in. And I'll tell you right now that is not going to happen. It's not. If it is going to happen, you're going to be so buried in the next car that you're going to take it to your grave. You're never going to get out of that car. So often I see people roll negative equity into another car and then into another car, and then they wreck it or whatever, and it just never turns out good. But if somebody tells you that, hey, just get into this car for 6 months or 3 months or 8 months or whatever it is, and then bring it back and we'll trade it in, it just doesn't work like that. You're going to bring that car in 6 months, and you barely made your first couple payments. There's some 60 days same as cash, 90 days same as cash, whatever, where you barely made a payment on the thing, and it's worth 20 or so % less than what you paid for it, especially on trade-in. Because essentially you're trading it in on another car. But a car you paid, let's just to give numbers, $10,000, worth 20% less, it's now worth $8,000. And that's not even trade-in. That's what it's actually worth, because it's 6-8 months down the road. So the car is really worth maybe $6,000 at that point. So you have a car that you barely made a payment on, you probably owe $9,000, that they'll give you $6,000 on trade. What do you think happens to that other $3,000? It goes right on top of your next car that they promised you that you could get in 6 months. So just be really careful. These are all things that are just kind of nasty things that car dealers do that I really don't care for. And if I did them, I probably would sell a lot more cars, but I'd sleep a lot worse at night. So Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this video was at all helpful, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below. It's right underneath the video here. It really does help out the channel. We're just getting started and trying to post some content that's valuable to you, whether you're a dealer or whether you are a consumer. I appreciate you watching again, and have a great night.